coffee, tea, frappuccinos, and more. Welcome to the Barista Moment, where Mr. Dupoint discusses how important baristas are in making people stable, happy, or angry in life. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Mr. Dupoint.
Well, welcome, of course, to the Barista Moment with Mr. Dupoint. Why? Because I simply love to get to the point. And today, of course, I will talk about, as always, why I firmly believe that baristas all around the world help to keep this world sane because of the coffee, tea, frappuccinos, and many other concoctions they tend to make for us customers on a daily basis, keeping us filled with the caffeine delight that we must have and the intake we need to call ourselves, dare I say it, normal. So, with that being said, I think today I'm going to talk about New Orleans. New Orleans, you say, yes. Anyone who's everyone will not say that they don't know anything about the city of New Orleans. You might maybe not know about Louisiana as a state, but you'll definitely know about New Orleans as a city. And New Orleans is such a great place. I mean, tourism is continuous, and now, of course, with the whole COVID thing, things changed a bit, but of course things are getting back to normal, of course, where tourists are now visiting once again the city of New Orleans that has such great architecture, has great music on the streets, great cuisine that just makes you go, oh. But I must say that even though it has great seafood and great Cajun food and great architecture and sights, New Orleans does have a thing, surprisingly, of great coffee. If you ever go to Café du Monde, where of course they have their famous New Orleans beignets, which are these powdery flake donuts, which are so tasty, so good, especially when they're first taken out of the pot, the skillet and placed onto your plate. So with all this powdered sugar, I mean, the question is not eating. The question is seeing how much powdered sugar you don't get on you, while you're eating. So, but of course, who would not get a plate of French beignet donuts without getting a cup of cafe au lait? Now, the reason that we call it cafe au lait in New Orleans is because it's basically coffee, but the only difference is that it has some skim milk that is heated up and condensed, so that basically it gives a unique flavor to the coffee itself, enhancing the coffee, so to speak, with that milky flavor. So that's why we call it cafe au lait. And of course you can get it hot, where it's nice and steamed, or you can get it cold, where of course they steam it and then they pour it over a nice refreshing cup of ice. So, but that is something that is well known in New Orleans. New Orleans is not known, the residents of New Orleans is not known for just having coffee. They're known for having the au lait. So cafe au lait coffee is their known thing. And of course, baristas in New Orleans have to know about this because, many people are going to expect it when they go to the store or the cafe to get their coffee. Surprisingly enough, too, New Orleans is so known for coffee that franchises have a very difficult opportunity of getting into New Orleans to open their own franchise. Starbucks itself is actually very limited to New Orleans. I believe at most Starbucks they might have maybe 4 Starbucks in the city of New Orleans itself. And that's it, 4 Starbucks in the city of New Orleans itself. Because really, to be honest with you, instead of introducing or inviting Starbucks, New Orleans pretty much was telling them that, look, we already have our own coffee. We have our flavored brand. I mean, we have community coffee, which is New Orleans, which is made in New Orleans, and is a very enhanced chicory brand flavored bean. So that really gives you a high moment of delight, because it gives you that energy that you need, but it doesn't make you have that down point, at the end. So, you feel high and energized, but you don't later feel tired and, sleepy. So New Orleans was like, look, we appreciate the opportunity, Starbucks, but really, we're New Orleans. We already have our own brands of coffee. We don't really need to introduce any other brands to our residents. And more so, because we support our local groups, we really don't want to bring in franchises. So that's quite interesting when you think about it, that New Orleans is so good and so well known for its own chicory brand and own coffee beans, that basically it didn't really want any franchises to enter its city. It wanted to stay local. And because of that, I'm going to talk about one of its local cafes, which is known as PJ's Coffee. Now, of course, if you're a local, you definitely know of PJ's Coffee. No New Orleans local would not know of PJ's Coffee. Now, of course, if you're a tourist, that's a little different. You may not have heard of PJ's Coffee. You may have seen it throughout the city of New Orleans, maybe even downtown. But, of course, if you're a tourist, you will normally go to those tourist restaurants and just get coffee there. So, let's talk about PJ's, shall we? PJ's Coffee was founded in 1978 by Phyllis Jordan, a pioneer in the coffee industry that demonstrated better beans, superior roasting techniques, and pure passion for the art of coffee making. And PJ served a variety of hot, iced, and even frozen coffee beverages, as well as organic tea and fresh pastries. PJ's famous iced coffees are brewed daily, using a special cold drip process that protects the flavor and strengthens the bean, while producing a coffee that is 2/3 less acidic than normal coffee, a process pioneered by the founder herself. So, as you can tell, New Orleans takes pride in many things, in its art form, in its architecture, and its food, but also, as you can see, New Orleans takes pride in its coffee. So, of course, PJ's is one of the more well-known coffee brands that people will go to enjoy if you are a local, of course, of New Orleans. Now, what makes PJ's? Well, of course, as I said, they got their cafe au lait, which, of course, has that splash of steamed milk, which really gives you good flavor to your coffee. They know how to drip the coffee at a certain amount, so that basically it's less acidic and more energetic. So it gives you more of a smooth taste, but at the same time, it gives you a very energizing effect that lasts for quite a long time and doesn't make you effectively tired afterwards. One of the things that they have, of course, their normal hot coffee, which means just like anything else. Of course, their cafe au lait. They have hot mocha, which is, of course, a cafe au lait sweetened with Ghirardelli cocoa and topped with a whipped cream. They have Vienna cream, which is a warm coffee made with PJ's Viennese blend, cold brew coffee and milk, and sweetened, frothed together, and sculpted with a swirl whipped cream. They have caramel, because New Orleans is very known for its sweetness, so of course they're always going to have a lot of sweet. That's why in New Orleans with the Mardi Gras they have the whole king cakes and stuff, because they love sweets. It's all about keeping that palate, that tongue energized and looking for more, whether it be food or sweets or drinks. They always want to keep you enjoying the moment, or as I say, and having a party in your mouth. So, and New Orleans is known for that. They love parties. They love fiestas. They love having fun and keeping fun and energy going. So, they have a caramel creme, which of course is a rich caramel PJ's Viennese blend, cold brew coffee with milk froth into a frenzy, topped with whipped cream and drizzles of caramel. Delightful. Indeed, indubiously sweet and tempting. And of course, they gotta have their nitro, which is just original cold brew iced coffee infused with nitrogen gas, creating a creamy yet stout-like effect. So that's their coffees. Now, of course, coffees are great, but because New Orleans is always energetic, it's like a small New York, but of course, a more relaxed one because they like to party, but they don't like to move as fast, but like to always stay busy. So, you know, of course, PJ's has their espresso coffees that are definitely known and definitely utilized. They have their cafe latte, which has rich shots of espresso dolce combined with steamed milk and topped with a layer of thick foam. Their cappuccinos, of course. I mean, who wouldn't want a cappuccino? It's the original, right? It's just so smooth, so delicious, but yet so energetic. And then you got, of course, your just normal espressos, just pressurized water used to extract the rich essence of our finely ground espresso dulce, straight. Then you got your Americano, of course, which is equal measures of espresso and hot water to create a strong but flavorful coffee. And you got your macchiato, which is basically meaning marked in Italian. It is traditionally serving espresso marked with a dollop of foamed milk. You got your Mocha Latte, which is Ghirardelli cocoa espresso and steamed milk with a swirl of whipped cream. You got your Mocha Cappuccino. Now that, my friend, is definitely sweet and powerful. Espresso with frothy steamed milk with a generous helping of Ghirardelli cocoa and a swirl of whipped cream. You got your white chocolate latte, which is Ghirardelli white chocolate, espresso, and steamed milk with a swirl of whipped cream. Then, of course, for those who are trying to quote-unquote watch their carbs, you got your skinny vanilla latte, which, of course, is a hot espresso sweetened with sugar-free vanilla syrup topped with steamed skim milk and a dollop of froth. Now, of course, is that all they have? No, of course not. They still have other things. I mean, that's the thing about New Orleans. It's a mixture of incitement, a mixture of intimacy, a mixture of drinks and food that keeps you coming back for more, you know? So they have their frozen and blended drinks. You know, they got Granita, which is a cold, crystalline, frozen coffee beverage, smooth in texture and full of flavor. They got their Mocha Granita, which is a rich chocolate added to our famous Granita with spiral whipped cream and drizzles of more chocolate upon it. Then, of course, you can't help but have the caramel Granita, you know, a cold and caramel-licious Granita topped with whipped cream and a sweet caramel swirl. Then you got your Velvet Ice. PJ's Velvet Ice is our frosty, cold, incredibly smooth, and totally addictive. Prepared especially for you, these blended sweet sensations are offered in mocha and vanilla and garnished with a blizzard of whipped cream. Delightful. Now, my thing, of course, is you got your Chai Velvet Ice, which is originally in India. Chai is flavored tea beverage made by brewing black tea with a mixture of aromatic Indian spices and herbs. At PJ's, of course, they like to use sweetened Oregon chai concentrate with cold milk and vanilla, blended with ice into a velvety consistency that then they top off with just the right amount of whipped cream. And then you got your protein velvet ice for those who feel they need to have a more energetic health approach, which is blended into a velvety smooth concoction made from our homemade ultra low calorie PJ's original cold brew concentrate, fat free milk and protein concentrate. And the protein velvet ice is a delicious, helpful complement for the mover and shaker lifestyle of our many customers who like to embody and enjoy life. Now, of course, then they have just your normal iced coffees. I mean, because, you know, some people like it hot, some people like it cold. It just depends on who you are. I myself, I prefer to have a cold beverage because I want to enjoy it, but I also have a sense of feeling that my cold beverage enhances the beverage. Like the ice enhances the cream and the coffee. It may dilute it if you don't drink it immediately over time. Yes, I admit it. But if you have a very strong coffee, still with the dilution, it still gives you that blended, unique, flavorful taste that makes you go, yes, yes, yes. So, you know, and then of course you got those that like it hot, and they definitely want to feel the burn, or as they say, feel the rush as it goes down their throat and energizes their body shortly after for hours, maybe, if not longer. Now, of course, they do, because they have to have at cafes both coffee and tea. You know, PJ's does have its tea. And I must admit, their tea is quite delectable. Their coffee, I would say, is much better than their tea, personally. I've had both the coffee and the tea. And PJ's is definitely well known for their coffees. I mean, their coffees are so enhanced and just very smooth taste, and it has a very nice kick to it. Their teas are good, so I'm not saying if you're a tea drinker, of course, by all means, try a tea at PJ's, because you're not going to be disappointed. It's just that I just know personally that when it comes to having the coffee or a tea, PJ's is definitely known for their coffee. And quite interesting, by the way, when you think about coffee and tea, you always wonder which one really has the most caffeine, because really that's what you're drinking the drink for anyway. I mean, you're enjoying the flavorful taste and the smooth taste, of course, but you're really getting it for that caffeine, because you need that energy, you want that energy, you desire and crave that energy, so you want as much caffeine as possible to keep your day, because you may be someone that's simple, that just needs to work in the office, that might need a little bit of caffeine. Then you may be someone who is up and about, basically as a courier, going here and there throughout the day, never ever stopping, always moving around, always needing energy, so you may need a whole lot of caffeine. It just depends on who you are. But either way, whether you're a simple office person, a teacher, a CEO, a courier, weightlifter, whatever, or a health trainer, either way, you need caffeine. We all need, in some way, caffeine. So, surprisingly though, tea leaves contain about 3.5% caffeine, while coffee beans only have 1.1 to 2.2%. So you would think automatically then, oh, well, I guess teas have more caffeine, but actually, no, you are quite wrong. No. Because yet, what we have not discovered is that normally when making coffee and tea, you tend to use the full bean of the coffee. Yet most people generally do not use all of the tea leaves for a cup of tea. So generally, brewed coffee normally has more caffeine than brewed tea. Interesting, but true. Only because we normally don't use the full beverage, full capacity and potency of the tea leaves. Why? I don't know. I know Starbucks is starting to do that, so that's why Starbucks tea is a little different, where they do have a lot more caffeine in it than the coffee, because they actually brew their tea leaves completely, but most cafes don't. Because I must admit, the brewing process for tea is quite a long process, where the brewing process for coffee is not as long as possible as that for tea. So therefore, that might be one of the reasons, because you can brew coffee much faster than you can brew tea. So therefore, if you're in a quote-unquote conscientious customer related, you have to get their drink to them as fast as possible, then of course you're going to want to not brew the tea as long for the tea customers as you would definitely be able to brew the coffee longer for the coffee customers. But hey, a nice fact to know, right? I mean, whether you wanted to know about it or not, now you do, so you're welcome. Now, basically, one thing I love about New Orleans is their baristas are so down to earth. They're not into the whole Starbucks of, good evening, welcome to Starbucks, how can I take your order? What can I serve you? They're not into that whole cosmic customer service etiquette. They're more like, hello, welcome to PJ's, I can help you. I mean, they have, and of course they have that Cajun New Orleans accent, that drawl that captures your attention as they speak. So, but I will say, because it's New Orleans though, one thing you must understand is that New Orleans is good for partying, known for its flavorful food and drinks, but New Orleans is not known for efficiency. So you must please understand that when you deal with a New Orleans company, or you do a New Orleans barista, you will not be getting your coffee or tea as quickly as you would in other restaurants. You will definitely be getting it a little slower, because they like to take their time in doing things. they're more relaxed in how they approach and work. So just something to be aware of, basically. If you're from New York and you go to New Orleans, you're going to definitely get a very strong wake-up call when you start ordering food and drinks from the city of New Orleans restaurants and cafes. Now, if you're one that's just in the moment and just wants to relax and enjoy yourself on vacation, no time at all to go anywhere or really do anything, then New Orleans is definitely the place for you, because you're going to enjoy the whole activity scene, entertainment, but also your baristas are going to be just as relaxing as you are, to the point where they might even start a conversation with you, basically, just to see what's going on, how you're doing, or even explain conversation about themselves. It's just interesting how New Orleans is so open-minded as far as the people. They're so open associated, so to speak, because they like to talk. And they love to give stories. They love to let you know how they're feeling. And they're more than happy to tell you how they're feeling. So it's just something to remember, because they're very much engaging when it comes to the customer, but in a different way, a very different way of engagement. So just something to remember. But they still, as any barista would and need to, will give you that vital caffeine that you need, that vital drink that you want, and serve it up just correctly to make you say, yes, there was a purpose and there was a reason I came to PJ's today, and that purpose has been resolved. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, of course, before I continue on, let me play a song just to show you the soothing atmosphere of what I feel like New Orleans brings to the table when they give you a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, so you can fully understand what I mean by the New Orleans environment experience. So with that being said, I'm going to play Caffeine by Epiphania. That's right, Caffeine by Epiphania. Enjoy the New Orleans atmosphere experience. I know I will. There you have it. Caffeine by Epiphania. And truly, like I said, that's exactly how New Orleans feels. That's exactly how you're going to feel in the environment of that cafe, whether you go to PJ's or another cafe, basically, as that barista gives you that coffee or tea, but gives you that intense, non-quick situation, or should I say that relaxing moment of just, hey, I'm here. Let me enjoy it. Let me feel it. Let me become it. Let me become one with it. And that's New Orleans. That's how that city is. It loves to just relax and become part of the city, of the environment. It likes to have the people become part of each other, where you mix in with whatever you're dealing with, whether it's art, drinking, dancing, eating. They want the customers to feel embraced by what they're partaking in, it to the point where they just become one with it and thoroughly enjoy it, because they feel the full enhancement and the full atmosphere of what they're dealing with. But PJ's is a very nice place. It's been, like I said, I must say, whenever I was living in New Orleans, I would look for a PJ's first before going to any other cafe. Now, of course, if you were downtown, I would definitely, of course, have gone to Cafe Du Monde because, I mean, hey, it's Cafe Du Monde. Who's not going to go to Cafe Du Monde? So, you know, but if I wasn't particularly in downtown, and I was like, you know what, I need a coffee today, I would definitely pull up a PJ's first before just dropping at any cafe because, as I said, coffee and tea is good. I mean, there's coffee and there's tea. And there's coffee and tea around the world. And there's cafes and restaurants around the world. But when it comes to just having your coffee and your tea a certain way, there's only certain cafes and certain shops that just can give you what you want. Now, I will say this. There are, at times, situations where you have to have something and you need it right away and you don't have time to look. And one thing I like about New Orleans is they're known for having, you know, hot dog stands that are, you know, on carts and having like snowball stands on carts. And, you know, they'll even have a coffee stand on a cart where, you know, it's just driving around or just parked somewhere. You could just get yourself a nice cup of coffee or a nice tea or a nice snowball or a nice ice frozen coffee, you know, right there. You know, you don't have to go look for it. It's right there on the corner. And you know, it's a nice small cart. It has only a limited, you know, amount of resources or coffee or teas, but still, it's quick, it's easy, and doesn't take long. And it's not just in New Orleans where they do this. Actually, there's a place called Capablanca, which is now rolling out in Southern California as of 2020, where basically it's simply a cart where you can get your, you know, tea, coffee, a cappuccino, an espresso, basically, you know, while on the go. Because, you know, there's sometimes a need where you just don't have time to go drive to get what you want. You want to find it as soon as possible, right around the corner, to get it, take it, enjoy it, and be on the go. And that's basically what Capablanca is all about now in California. So it just goes to show you how we as people are changing and how times are changing along with us, because, you know, there are times where we feel the need to be rushed, and, you know, as businesses are becoming more, you know, energetic and customers are becoming more energetic and, you know, the life itself is becoming more fast-paced, then of course you need things that can work along with you as you're on that fast pace. But then of course when life turns around and history slows down and gives you yet a different type of atmosphere where now things are slower and you're enjoying things more, then of course they'll go back to the normal cafes. But right now we have a kind of a mix blend where you got those who enjoys the cafes and enjoys just relaxing and enjoying their drink, and then those who have to go to the carts and just get it on the go, as they got many trips to people to see, many meetings to be to, and many situations to be part of. So, but I will say, yes, if you are ever in New Orleans, I definitely believe you should definitely, of all the coffee shops, look for PJ's and get you a coffee or tea from PJ's, especially at Cafe Olé. Now, of course, if you're in New Orleans and you just want to be that tourist, then yes, you want to definitely go to Cafe Du Monde on St. Peter's, you know, get you a nice plate of beignets and, of course, a Cafe Olé there. But that's for the tourist situation. But as all locals know, when you really want a good, fresh brewed cup of coffee, or you want to get a good coffee that enhances you, you definitely want to go to PJ's to enjoy it. So, with that said, I have to say, I still believe, and I still always say one thing: take care of your baristas. Because guess what? Your baristas definitely take care of you. I mean, yes, they have to make your coffee and make your tea, but you have to understand, if it's a limited menu or not, or it's an unlimited menu, still, the thing is, they're doing what they have to make you have a smile on your face, to make you feel energetic, to make you feel happy, to make you feel the need to go and continue to enjoy life and be ongoing with it. You know, if they disappoint you, just imagine how many people you may disappoint indirectly because You simply just didn't like your coffee or tea. But if they make you happy, keep you happy, then of course that keeps you normally happy so that you will treat people around you happily. You never really think of a barista. You never think about what they go through day by day, the many questions they have, the many orders they take, the many drinks they make on a day-to-day basis. You know that a normal barista can make anywhere between 500 to 6,000 drinks a day. 500 to 6,000 drinks a day, depending on the location of the shop that they work in or the cafe that they're dwelling in at the time. And then of course you got your beautiful cafes that sometimes has floetry poetry, which is the madness, you know, where you're actually enjoying your aroma coffee or your subtle tea of herbs while listening to some poet just spring out words of enhancement and just knowledge that just captures your mind and makes you just go, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, baby. I feel you, baby. I dig you, baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. Or the music that sometimes you'll have in a cafe that is like just so jazzy, so jazzful, that gets you going to the point where you're sitting down and you know what? You're like, why do I need to get up? I'm enjoying my coffee. I'm enjoying the music. I'm part of the flow. I'm exactly where I need to be. Yeah. 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 But all in all, no matter about the place, no matter about the music, still, you have to remember, still all boils down to one inevitable person that really makes it or breaks it for everyone that day. And that one inevitable person, that one core of importance for any cafe is the barista. So I salute you, baristas at PJ's in New Orleans and any other franchise locations, as I heard that they're actually starting to franchise out into other locations. So, but anyway, I salute the baristas of PJ's. I think that you do a marvelous job of keeping people enjoyingly happy. I think that you do well in making their coffee and teas as they expected. And I think that you do subtly well in truly giving them the brand name of New Orleans as a New Orleans barista, because you're unique and you're not common in any way upon your service to each and every customer. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So with that being said, I think I'm going to play another song before I end my show, because honestly, you know, there's only so much I can say about PJs, and I don't want to go too much into it, because if I say too much, that it just will bore you. You know, you have to sometimes be short and sweet and simply to the point, and of course, being Mr. Dupoint, that I am, simply to the point. So, I will play you a song for those of you who want to see the opposite of what coffee and caffeine can do to you. That's not from the subtleness of New Orleans, but more so from other coffee places. Because, like I said, New Orleans has that nice, subtle, yet addictive feeling of giving you what you need, but on a very calm level. Where places like Starbucks and other restaurants will tend to give you a more energetic speed of, oh my gosh, I'm on the ride of espresso and I don't think I'm going to stop, but I don't give a fuck. I want to keep going on and on and on. Yes, 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 espresso, yes. So with that being said, I'm going to play Caffeine Rush by Jacob Tilburg for those that like to enjoy the rush of espresso. there you have it. Caffeine Rush by Jacob Tilburg. And I'm sure you noticed what I said about how it's definitely not a PJ's experience, because it explains the caffeine and espresso you get from other places. That's more hygienic, that's more euphoric, that's more on the go, like a racing roller coaster. But as you notice, though, you're on an ultimate high, just going further and further, farther and farther, higher and higher, until finally at the end you start to break down and slowly go back into your euphoric trance, which becomes that of a sleepy temper, and you go, oh, yeah, I need to rest. I'm out of energy. And then of course what happens? You go look for that high once more, once again. So, anyway, either way, whether you want to go ahead and have that smooth, slow roasted coffee, or that high nitro expressive coffee, or you want to have that nice aromatic tea and herbal tea, or you want to have that, yes, this is the tea I needed today to bring me back to life. No matter what, still, there's one thing you need to remember. Don't forget the core element of both situations, which is, it's all about your barista. Your barista makes your day. Your barista makes everybody's day. Hell, the baristas keeps the world living. And I know, and I'm going to make it to, I hope you understand, all out there, that you need to know. Thank your barista. Tip your barista, because your barista is literally your drug dealer, and you need your drugs. We all need our drugs. So, and for all the baristas out there, if you have any stories you want to talk, email me, of course, at momentousevents@aol.com, Mr. Dupoint, if you please. And, of course, all the music that's provided here is courteous of Alan Cousin, who basically is the owner of Get Up Radio Media. Thank you, Alan Cousin. Thank you, Get Up Radio, for providing this music on radioapp.org, which I was informed is also on iTunes and on Google Play. I guess if you want to go find that, that's fine. I mean, hey, what's life without music, right? I know I even need my classical music ever so often, so truly we all need our music, indeed. So, anyway, I thank you for the opportunity of enjoying the Barista Moment with Mr. Dupoint, because, frankly, I always get to the point. But as always, I just want to say one more time, the main point of all my shows is the core element is the barista. You need to remember that. You need to thank them. You need to keep them happy, because guess what? Without baristas, clearly we might just be nothing. Enjoy.
Thanks for listening to the Barista Moment podcast, where I prove the importance of baristas keeping the balance in humans around the world. Any baristas that wish to share their story or be on the show, please email Mr. Dupoint at momentousevents@aol.com. Want to advertise on our show? Simply email us at momentousevents@aol.com for prices to be heard worldwide.